get the 2?
I kind of did. I thought, of course, we're happy with being a 2 seed, no question about that. But I thought that we were really close to being a 1 seed too, because of the way things played out, you know, in our RPI and our BPI. I looked today, I think we were 3-5, and we had 12 wins and against the top 50, where some of the other teams they were considering had, you know, 5 or 6. So I think that, you know, Virginia obviously deserved it because they won today, but if things had happened a little bit differently today, then maybe we'd been in consideration. But I'm really happy that we're on the 2 line, because I thought, you know, there's obviously a chance we can move to a 3.
Looking at your pod, does New Mexico, you already played them, do they strike you as better than a 7 seed?
Yeah, you know, they beat San Diego State in their tournament on a neutral floor, and San Diego State's a 4 seed. So I think that, and we saw how good San Diego State was, and of course we played good against them and made shots in the Sprint Center, and their guard Greenwood, if I'm not mistaken, was playing with a broken hand then, and their big kid got 2 quick fouls in the first 3 minutes, which kind of changed things. So we were fortunate. I hope we have an opportunity to advance, because whoever we play there, Stanford or New Mexico, would be, you know, obviously a very, very tough opponent. But our focus just needs to be on obviously Eastern Kentucky and defending the 3-point line.
What have you learned about Eastern Kentucky in the last 20 minutes?
Not a lot. Not a lot. I've got a cheat sheet here, though, but you know, I have looked at their stats, and they're going to play 4 starters that all shoot 3s. They're a lot like Iowa State in that regard. I mean, they stretch it. I think they've shot 776 threes, something like that, for the season, and their opponents have shot 570 or something like that. So they're averaging, you know, 6 or 7 more threes a game than their opponents, which is a lot. That's a big difference. So we definitely got to guard the line, because they're not real big.
Seems like a team that pressures too, really high in turnovers.
Yeah, you know, I haven't had a chance to watch tape yet, so we'll watch that. And you know, I think that they, based on what I've been told through my assistant coaches in the last, you know, 15 minutes, is that they'll do some things, you know, from a zone wise that could be a little bit different, to give you different looks and things like that. So we'll have a lot to practice on this week.
Were you happy to get to St. Louis? I mean, closest one to you guys.
Yeah, but I would have been fine going anywhere. You know, sometimes when you play close, there's more distractions. I thought last year we played Kansas City, there was more pressure on us to perform well there than it would have been if we got away, and it was pretty evident how we played in the first round and how we played the first half against Carolina. And then we finally relaxed and played a little bit. But yeah, we're happy. But look at that'll be one of the hottest tickets ever for the first 2 rounds, because K-State, Kentucky, and Wichita State, and us. I mean, there's going to be it's going to be hard to get tickets. Our fans need to be creative in figuring out a way.
How cool is that? All the Kansas schools except for Baker made it to the
Well, I don't know if it's cool or not. I think if you were going to ask K-State, they'd probably say we'd like to not have Kansas in it. And if you ask our fans, we may say the same thing. You know, the thing about it is, I've said this before, because we've been in the same first 2 rounds with K-State before. I think we were in Omaha with them, isn't that right? So this isn't unusual, but you know, hopefully our league will definitely pull for each other, and our state will pull for each other. But it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting, because you got Wichita State who will travel, K-State who will travel. We'll travel great, and then you got the Big Blue Nation that travels as well or better than anybody. So it'll be an interesting weekend.
Kind of felt all year like Larry Brown was going to be coaching in the tournament.
Oh yeah, I can't believe it. I can't. I feel. I talked to Coach this morning, and you know, he was confident. You know, he wasn't cocky by any stretch, but he was confident they'd get in. And we talked about first-round matchups, and when it all played out, I forgot Providence got the automatic bid. So when it all played out, going into the last deal, I said Carolina 6, SMU 11, because that's what Coach told me this morning. I bet they put us against Carolina. And I thought that, and then of course Providence got the automatic bid, so they were out. But I feel bad for them, because I know what a great season they had, and how well they've done, and how they, you know, revived that program. And certainly it's very disappointing. I'm very happy for Danny on the flip side, because you know, he had the automatic bid, but that was cool. I forgot who Danny plays in the first.
UCLA.
So they're in our regional, not in St. Louis, isn't that right?
Yeah.
They're not in St. Louis,
No.
but they're in our regional, so I was really happy with Danny. And Tulsa, UCLA got an unbelievable first round history going back to Tubby at Tulsa, so it should be exciting.
Coach, you mentioned defending the three-point line in the tournament. Is that the area that concerns you the most defensively going in?
No, I don't. Well, I think there's a lot of things defensively that we got to get back. You know, we've been saying it all year long, and we have shown signs of getting better in some ways. I'm not sure the other night. I've watched the tape, and so much of our problem defensively has been when we don't play with the energy, because we're not great defensively, but we can play great defensively when we play with energy, and that's been proven. But when we don't, there's too big a dropout. We don't go from being a high energy team to being a really sound fundamental team. We're not that defensively, so we need to be high energy all the time. And when you're high energy, you can camouflage some mistakes. And Oklahoma State, we played pretty good defensively, and we didn't do near as good a job against Iowa State. But on that particular day, they would have been a hard guard for anybody. They were really good. And, you know, we made a mistake probably, and it's my mistake, but you know, being so concerned with the three after they go 8 for 12 the first half that really, you know, we may have been better off to give them some dare shots and hope the law of averages prevail, because they got inside of us, and that's where they really hurt us, you know, in the second half.
Bill, when you play a tough schedule, obviously you might see some teams you've already seen during the season, but what's your general philosophy on rematches in the tournament? Do you think the team that loses might have a little bit of a... Maybe,
yeah, maybe you could make a case that the team that has a chip on their shoulder may have the advantage, but you could also make a case the team that won has the confidence and that kind of stuff. I know with our own team during the regular season, if somebody beat us the first time in conference play, then we were usually better the second time, because that was the motivation. You know, we played, if you're talking about New Mexico, we played them, you know, December the 14th, maybe, something like that. So that's been, what's that been, over, what, 3 months ago? So they're a different team, we're a different team, and so I don't know really how much of a you know, past performance really plays into this at all if we're both fortunate enough to win. So I really don't know if there's an advantage.
Coach, the younger guys you have that haven't been to the tournament, how do you prep them for some of the outside distractions that they may deal with?
We've talked about it all year long, and we talked about it this week, and we talked about it again today. And the thing about it is, everybody, it's not exactly how it appears from the outside, because I don't know that anybody can really grasp that there's so much more than just being with your team and your team being together. It's agents, it's runners, it's family members, it's distractions. That could be things that are legitimate and things that people want to put things in people's head that maybe isn't so legitimate. And so the team that can stay the most focused team we've ever had was the 08 team. I mean, there was nothing. I mean, those guys did anything and everything that we asked them to do, and that was a wild crew. But they, for 3 weeks, they just totally gave of themselves to do exactly what we said, and they trusted what we told them was good. The thing about with teams is, it's great to have rules, but sometimes players think the rules are great for everybody else, not necessarily for me. And so the ones that will buy into, hey, this is what we do, we're going to be really good. The ones that say, well, that's what you should do, but I'm okay, I can handle it. That's when you start getting more distractions, and we got to be mature and not do that. But it is different, and the further you advance, obviously, the more distractions there are.
Are you happy with what you've seen from Wiggins the last few games heading into the tournament?
Yeah, Andrews played great. Andrew played great against Iowa State. He just didn't make shots early. You know, didn't get to the free throw line early, which was kind of put us in the hole. But Andrews playing great. I thought Perry was aggressive, obviously, offensively. We didn't do a lot from the other positions, and didn't shoot the ball well at all in Kansas City for the most part. But I think Andrews playing very well.
Did you think you might go Midwest regional?
I didn't know. I had no idea. So, you know, whatever regional you're in, you always feel like, well, the committee did us no favors. You know, no matter what regional you're in. And I think we got a really tough regional, obviously, but I think the Midwest is loaded also.
What stands out to you about the South?
Well, you know, without going into it too much, you know, you obviously, you just worry about winning a two-game tournament. So you don't worry about what could potentially happen next week. You worry about what could potentially happen next week if you win 2 games this week. And so, you know, not to get ahead of ourselves at all. But in our regional, you got the best team in the country. You got a team that 4 weeks ago was thought to be the best team in the country. You got a team, obviously, that in UCLA that's one of the hottest teams in the country. So, you know, you can make a case that if everybody in our regional plays to their ceiling, our regional could be about as good as anybody's. There's no question about that. But you just want to win 2 games this weekend. That's the focus.
Does it feel like that though, looking at the entire bracket, because of all the, it seems like every team has knocked somebody off. And, you know, every single regional looks pretty darn tough this year, the way that the basketball season just shaped up.
Well, I think what you're saying, there's more good teams and less great teams. I think Florida's a great team. I think that you could make a case for Wichita State and certainly Arizona being great teams over the course of the year. But the bottom line is everybody can be had. And that's been proven, I think that's your point, that's been proven throughout the year, that there's more good, solid teams that could beat what were perceived to be maybe the better teams. There's not that much difference at all. I would venture to guess the difference between a 2 seed and a 7 seed or 8 seed or whatever it is probably as narrow as it's ever been.
What is Joel's status?
It's the same. It's the same. He feels better. You know, he feels better, and you know, all the doctors have been, all the medical staff has been communicating, and you know, same thing. For me to be optimistic about this weekend would not be an accurate statement. Although I'm not saying it couldn't happen, but I don't feel optimistic about it. But I do, along with the medical staff and based on how he's rehabbing, do feel optimistic about next week. So.
Well, I think you used the word long shot before on Joel. Will you rule him out? Or go
No,
later
well,
in the
I could rule him out if he's not able to practice, let's say by Wednesday or something like that. But you know, there's no reason for me to do that now because that's not the case. But it's all symptom related and how he responds, and he's responding very favorably right now. So we'll just wait and see.
Anything else? Thanks, Coach.
All right, guys.